Yeah, everyone, good evening. I hope you are doing fine. I hope you're good. Yeah. Okay, so I'm live now, trying to work things out. You know, okay, a lot of people are in. All right. Okay, so all right. Okay, so this evening I will be opening up an issue to some people, specifically to students, and we will be discussing something very important. And I think let me check whether the chat is open before I go on. Okay, so I just dropped a chat now asking if you can hear me. So the chat is open, and you can drop comments for you know us to follow. Okay. So I want to start looking at an issue to start a series right now. It's simply about um, studying effectively. Our student can study effectively. Our Nigerian student can study effectively. And today, I'll be starting with the mind power for academic excellence. And it's quite an important thing. It's quite a big deal for us to look into our minds, and find out what is important about it and how we can best harness it and be what we are called to be. You know, the most important thing that anybody can talk about being a human being is the mind. And what really makes a human being is simply the ability to use one's mind. So we don't have um, the ability to respond to the three-dimensional world if we would not make good use of our minds. Okay, and the one thing is common to everybody in this life, and that is the mind. So today I'll be looking at mind power for academic excellence, and tomorrow I'll be looking at practical skills that can help us to study effectively. So you know, as an educator, I have come across many things, and in my discussion with students, and I have seen that um, people are struggling, students are struggling to really understand what they are studying or even get a grip of the effective ways to study. And it is quite important to come up with this conversation and help us to see how important it is for us to get involved in our academics and have a better outcome at the end of the semester. So um, tonight, or let me say this evening at about 6 p.m., 9 minutes past six, I'll be looking at mind power. I'll be unpacking the power that is in everybody, which is quite important for us. And tomorrow at exactly 6 p.m., I'll be looking at the practical ways to study, how to look at an information and put that same information in your mind, It's just like, basketball. Every information you come across in your academics, whether in chemistry, whether in economics, microbiology, whatever you're studying, you are going to need to make use of your mind. And making use of your mind is the most important thing in this journey, in this, whether a 4-year course or 5-year course or even 7-year course like those in MBBS. It's quite important that you must understand that you have two things that is common to everybody in this world, and that is the mind. So I'll be starting with the mind. And the second thing that you have that is common to everybody is simply your 24 hours, 24 hours. And that is the advantage everybody has. We all have one mind, we all have a mind, or we all have minds as part of the resources that has been placed in our hands, that has been given to us to function in this three-dimensional world. And we also have 24 hours. However, we must understand that said, that everybody has 24 hours, everybody has minds, does not mean that people do not have more advantage than the other. For instance, some people have more systemic structural advantage than other people. But one thing is common is that if we can use our mind, at the end of the day, everybody, no matter how disadvantaged you are, whether you are in a good climb, whether in a developing climb, whether you are in a bad climb, one thing you have one resource rather, that cannot be taken away from you, and that is the mind. Okay, so the mind is everything. All right, everything you want to think of. And because the mind is everything, whatsoever you think, you become. So if you think negative from your mind, your action will follow. Okay? If you think positive about your mind or from your mind about yourself, your actions will follow. Meaning that what you think in your mind will produce feelings, and those feelings will propel action, will produce corresponding action. And you must understand that the human mind is the most powerful resource ever entrusted to mankind. Okay, the human mind is the most powerful resource ever entrusted to mankind. And every invention that you want to think of, every civilization that you really want to think of or that you have come in contact with, every scientific breakthrough, every masterpiece of art, and every act of leadership began as a thought. So even as an academics or as students, whatever discipline you're doing, whatever discipline you're into, your success begins with the mind, begins from the mind. It's a mind thing. The breakthrough in masterpiece of art, every act of leadership always begin as a thought in somebody's mind. So if you are going to be successful at the end of your academic journey or at the end of the 4 years, you are going to begin with your mind. And whatever you come out with, if you must look back, or whatever results that you have now, is a product of the thoughts that you have had in your mind before. But then the one thing that I want you to do is that before anything exists, or no, is that before anything exists in reality, it first exists in your thinking faculty. Therefore, if you must understand success and transformation, we must first understand the power of the mind. My friend, transformation begins when your mind is renewed, and renewing your mind is your responsibility. Are you following what I'm saying? Renewing your mind is your responsibility. Even God cannot reach out to you when your mind is not ready to receive Him. In Genesis 6, some guys in the Tower of Babel, people in the Tower of Babel wanted to build, they wanted to build Tower of Babel. And, God was saying, there is no way I could reach out to these people. There is no way anybody could, destroy whatever they are doing just because they are united in their imagination. So, meaning that if God could not do that, because some people have good mindset about what they want to do, all right, then no devil can stop you if you make up your mind to be the best. So, God Himself will reach you when your mind is ready. And that is why you must understand that the way that God will reach out to a man is to first help the man to hear. So that if the man hears, then his faith is opened up. And that is the essence of this mind power unpacking. Okay, that we must understand success, transformation, purpose as products of a man who has learned to use his mind. Now, what determines the dignity of a human being or even your dignity as a student is the ability to use your mind. The truth is that, let me tell you something. A lot of people have been crippled and still do great things. I have seen the blind doing great things. I have seen the crippled doing great things. I have seen a lot of people doing great things. But if somebody should lose his or her mind, we all conclude that the person is mad. If somebody should lose his or her mind, we conclude that the person is mad. Is mad. Even mad men or someone that is mad is not counted in population census. That is to tell you how critical it is for us to understand the resources that we have, which is our mind, and how to really use it. Because if we can use the mind, if we can understand the mind, then we can better become a better person. See, you can only become better when you make a better use of your mind. You see, the control center of human life is the mind. And the mind is the seat of thoughts, is the seat of emotions, is the root of decisions, is the determinant of attitudes, and reflects in behaviors. While while circumstances can influence us, the mind and the productive use of the mind helps us to respond to circumstances. So if you think that your academics is not, producing the right result, or you're not producing the right result at the end of the semester, it is time to switch to the use of your mind. Friends, no matter the prayer and fasting, it is as a man thinks in his heart that he will be. Okay, if you think you can do it, you can do it. If you think you cannot do it, you won't be able to do anything. Now, two people may experience the same setbacks, yet one can emerge stronger while the other gives up. And one thing is common for men, it is the use of the mind. You see, the difference often lies, not so much about the situation that you find yourself. The difference is your setting of the mind. If your mind is well set, you will be able to, overcome challenges. As students, you must understand that your mind is the number one thing, and mind management is quite important. Okay? Your mind is the roots of every achievement. Every great accomplishment was once considered impossible, that was once considered impossible until somebody was able to imagine it. So I don't know what you're studying. The only thing you need to do is simply to settle in your mind that this thing is simple. I'm going to study, I'm going to engage it, and I'm going to come out victoriously. A lot of students said they read for exam and yet they forget, okay? And yet they forget in their exam hall. They get to the exam hall only to go blank. Why? Because they read, but reading is not studying. Studying takes time. It involves deliberate use of the mind. It involves deliberate wrapping up of the information with your mind, engaging your mind with the information, with the knowledge that you are being given, delivered, offered in the four walls of the classroom. Okay, so and every you must understand that the airplane, okay, existed first in the minds of some people, popularly the Wright brothers. Electric lights existed in the imagination of Thomas Edison before it illuminated the world. Before Thomas Edison started experimenting to, produce electricity, that a lot of people had been existing before his time. Electricity was there, but they needed to understand the laws that govern electricity and its production. So he had tried over and over again. A lot of people said that he failed. He said, "No, I only discovered 10,000 ways this thing called electricity could not work." That is a man who has understanding of his mind. That's the man who has an understanding mind. Now, the laws of electricity are there already, but nobody could just unravel it. And if we don't unravel it, we will not be able to use it. So God gave us everything in this world. God gave you everything in this world as students. For instance, you have good lecturers, especially in private universities. You have good lecturers who are always coming to class, who are monitored, who are being, engaged by the management to ensure that they teach you. Then what you need to do is that you go further by reading, by studying, by reflecting, by meditating. And I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. But then you must understand where I'm going is that every successful business, books, university innovation began as an idea. That is, somebody decided that I was going to do it. So it takes a decision to make good use of the mind. It takes a big decision, and the big decision is simple. It is simple but big. You decide, and Daniel proposed in his heart. You propose in your heart that you are going to face this study squarely. Logic will get you from A to B, but the use of your mind will take you everywhere. Logic can get you from A to B, but when you make good use of your mind, you will go everywhere. You see, the birthplace of innovation is simply the mind. And the mind is capable of so many things. It is the best gift that you could ever have. The gift that can produce, that can create. The creative power of the mind is unlimited. See, I always tell people that as long as you can read, pronounce, recognize words, you will be able to put information in your mind, and your mind has the capacity to generate information. Your mind has the capacity to receive information. Your mind has the capacity to store up information, and I'm going to be talking about that. Now, your belief is also an important thing in the use of your mind. Once you believe that you have a sound mind, your mind will flow in that direction. But if you are always like, "Oh no, I don't understand it, I don't know," no, you tell your mind, we understand it, you understand it, I understand it. Now you will read. Okay, sometimes if you have to sleep and wake up to that thing that you're reading, to the book you're reading, to the subject you're reading, yeah, sometimes you have to rest. Sometimes the reason you don't understand is because you're stressed. Yeah, but you need to sleep, then you wake up. But the truth of the matter is that whatever belief that you accept, limitations, visible or invisible, that you accept, is the reason for your failure, for poor performance. It's going to keep on reproducing itself. But then, regardless of what you face, regardless of the issue, you must believe and think that you can. Success belongs to you. Success doesn't just belong to anybody. Success is not academic success is not even about fasting and praying. Yeah, yeah, because there are people who don't fast and pray and they came out with first class. There are people who don't fast and pray and they have good results to show for it. So you must understand that your mind is for studying. Your mind is a productive gift that is capable of doing anything. One of the things that Henry Ford told people was that whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you're right. He wasn't just thinking of positive thinking alone. He wasn't asserting that positive thinking alone will produce success. Rather, he was saying that what you believe inside you concerning your mind and you persist and you are willing to engage your mind will produce a desired outcome. Okay? So your mind will help you if only you deploy your mind. And your mind is not found in occasional thoughts, but it is found in your repeated thinking that is producing a repeated outcome. But when you change your repeated thinking, you'll be able to produce a new outcome. Because a new outcome is a product of belief, the belief is a product of the decision you make, the decision you make is a product of the habit is a product of the character concludes the destiny. But all of it sums up with the use of your mind. So you can study. Your mind has the ability to learn. And whether you are young or you're old, if you should stop learning, you're getting older. You're getting older day by day if you should stop learning. So your mind has the capacity to learn. Your mind has the capacity to store up information. Your mind has the capacity to store up knowledge. And when you engage it in meditation, you get understanding. Meaning, when you think about the subject you have put inside of you, you get understanding of what you're reading. The ability to understand your work is simply seeking in your mind to apply what you're reading. One of the ways to really understand what you're studying is decide that how does this thing I'm studying relate to me? Ask yourself question, how does it relate to the larger society? Remember, tomorrow we're going to be doing a practical teaching on studying. Okay? We're going to be doing a practical teaching on. So one of the things you'll be asking yourself questions. But then it is as you think about your studies that it becomes to you. I want you to regard it as simple that only requires you to put in your mind because your mind is capable of something bigger, of learning, of storing up information, of understanding complex details because your mind can overcome adversity. History is filled with people who transformed tragic situations into triumph because they refused to allow the circumstances to define them. So if your result is bad and you are beginning to feel bad about yourself, my friend, don't feel bad about yourself. I want you to think of those results as something that has happened, but that you can change. It has happened, but then you can change it. According to Viktor Frankl, you see, one of the things that it aid us to know, he, as an Holocaust survivor and as a psychiatrist, was that everything can be taken from a man. You see, but one thing, and the last of the human freedom, to choose one's attitude in every given circumstances. So if everything is taken from you, one thing is left with you, your mind, the power to change your thinking, the power to change your belief about yourself, the power to change your attitude that will eventually change your circumstances. And I mean, this is so powerful that when you take everything from a man, your dignity may have been taken from you, your worth may have been taken from you just because you have poor grades. But the truth is that nobody will ever take the freedom to use your mind for success. Nobody will ever take that freedom from you. So it is time to see that you have freedom to use your mind. You see, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So one of the greatest powers of the mind is that you have ability to respond to your academics, though it looks difficult. But the truth is that it's simple. It's because you are yet to engage your mind. And if you can on purpose use your mind will thrive. If you can on purpose use your mind will thrive. A focused mind, friends, is a powerful mind. Though. If your mind is focused, my friend, you are a powerful mind. You see, people who possess clear purpose often display remarkable endurance, creativity, and resilience. Your creativity, your resilience throughout the semester, throughout the session, throughout the 4-year course, 5-year course, 7-year course is a product of the purposeful use of your mind. That purpose that I'm going to study, that purpose that this information is mine and I'm going to make use of it. Okay, whatever the mind, according to Napoleon Hill, can conceive, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. So in your mind, what do you conceive? Do you conceive you as someone who cannot study? Some people jocularly say that I mean our we are all those. I know, will you stop that? Who called you that? Nobody said you are Olodo. Nobody said you are dullard. Nobody said you don't know anything. You are the one thinking you don't know. And because you are thinking it, you are reinforcing the inability to study, inability to retain information, inability to regurgitate information. And although scientific law may not accommodate the fact that whatever you conceive, you believe you can achieve. But then, in the mind, regarding academic excellence, it is an important principle. People really pursue what they believe is impossible. But once you believe it is possible, the mind pushes you to pursue it. And it is important that you guard your heart. It is important that you guard your mind. It is important that you make good use of your mind. And how do you make good use of your mind? The books you read, the conversation you entertain, the media you consume, the people you associate with, and the words you repeatedly tell yourself. You see, the happiness of your life depends so much on the quality of your mind about yourself. You don't want to look back 4 years ago and be wondering that you could have done better. Oh, I could have read further. Maybe I could have made a first class. Maybe I could have made a second class offer. You don't want to look back because if you are in 200 level now, your first admission to the university looks like yesterday. If you are in 400 level now, your first admission back in 100 level 3 to 4 years ago looks like 4 days ago. So time is ticking. It isn't stopping for anybody. Time waits for no man. The earlier you start using your mind, the better it is. The better result you come. The better result you get, the better outcome you get. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your mind, the quality use of your mind. And it is important. The healthy, you must make your mind healthy. Don't allow anything into your mind that is not healthy. Don't you ever allow it. You know, whatever you allow into your mind determines your success and determines your failure as well. Failure is not the opposite of success. If you have failed before, okay, you have low grades. No, you have not failed. It's not the opposite of success. It is your greatest teacher that you have just discovered ways to not be a successful student. And if you are watching this video now, this YouTube live now, you are discovering another way to become successful. I repeat, if you have had poor grades before, okay, don't think of yourself unworthy, don't belittle yourself. Come back to yourself, come back to your senses, and say to yourself that you have discovered way to be a failure, and now you discover ways to be a success. So failure is not the opposite of success. No, you have just successfully discovered how to not be a successful student. Now you want to discover how to be what? A successful student. It's the same thing with Thomas Edison. He failed like thousand times, and they asked him, you said, how do you feel you failed? He said, no, no, I didn't fail. I only discovered 10,000 ways the electricity cannot work. He has just discovered different ways electricity cannot work. So if you have not been reading before and you've been having progress, you have just discovered the ways a student can never be successful. And kudos to you for discovering that. Kudos to you for giving yourself as a sacrificial lamb to discover how you cannot be successful. But now you have to change. You know, we talk about repentance in church. Repentance in the Greek means metanoia. It means to change your mind. Now you need to change your mind. If you are in 400 level, well, if you are getting to 400 level now, because this should be long back, people by October, September resumption, many people will be in new level. If you're in 400 level, you can change everything. What do I mean? You can pick up your life. You can pick up your destiny now, okay? And make good use of your mind, all right? Now, the truth is that you have not failed, okay? You have only discovered ways academic failure, academic success can come into being and cannot come into being. Be transformed. Your academics can be transformed by you deciding, making a deliberate decision to focus on your studies. And I'm going to, start talking about the practical ways to focus on your study. Number one, set a timetable. Set a timetable. Okay? Set a timetable. But let me go back to that. You set your timetable according to the time of the day that is convenient for you. You must know the time of the day that is convenient for you to study. When I say convenient for you, I'm talking about psychologically speaking. Like, what do I mean? Some people can study in the evening. Some people like to study in the evening. Some people like to study immediately after they wake up. Some people like to study in the hot afternoon. Some people like to study in the while listening to soft music. Some people like to study where there is noise. Some people like to study, in different places. But that may not be you. And that means that even twins that came from the same womb on the same day may not find it convenient to study the same time. So if Taiwo sees that he or she studies assimilate in the evening, it will be doing him or herself a disservice following Kehinde to study in the afternoon. Because the best time Kehinde will study is in the afternoon. The best time Taiwo will study is in the evening. They had better stick to the time that is good, suitable for them. So your friends, if you know that you and your friends, you are following yourselves to the library, and in the library you'll be sleeping while your friend is reading, you better stop following him or her to the library. It is not a must to go to the library. I don't read in the library because that is when I'll be sleeping. Okay. But once it is 3:30, I get down to one class and I read. That is when I assimilate in the evening. I read from 3 to 7, and that's all, I'm done. And I wake up, I go and sleep, I wake up 12 to 4, I read again, and I'm done. So you must check the period of the day that you love to study. It is not so much for you to think that, oh my friend, come on guys, you'll be doing yourself a great disservice to not know when you study effectively, when your mind is open. You see, this our mind must work with our body. There are times your body would want to work, okay, but your mind will not want to work. There are times that your mind would want to work, but your body would not want to do anything. All of this, but there is a time that both your mind and your body are in sync, are connected, and that is usually the time of the day. So you must check whether it is in the evening, you must check whether it is in the morning, you must check whether it is in the afternoon, you must check whether it is immediately after you sleep and wake up. Study. Know it. Stop following your friend about. Your friend loves to go to the library. That is where he or she assimilates. Bye bye. I don't study in the library. Go. Bye bye. When you are done, come. When it is time for me to go and study, I will go to where I love to study. But don't follow yourselves about. You will not be doing yourself a good, service. You will not be helping yourself. But to help yourself, you must locate the time of the day that is convenient for you to study. It is quite important. Number two, let me say it, set your timetable. Your timetable is quite important. Set 2 hours for studying. If your class starts on a Monday morning by um, by 10, at least try to quickly wake up 6 and read between 6 to 8:30 if you love to read in the morning. But you know what I have found out is that many of you press your phone till daybreak. Okay? Many of you press your phone till daybreak. Just I want you to see that phone as just for communication. It should not be your toy. For now, your books should be your toy. Many of you don't sleep. You play games on your phone, and you waste your time. And time is life. Time is the total summation of your life. Life is simply the accumulate the extent to which you have been able to use your time. Okay, time is the essence of life. Okay, how you use your life, how you use your time now determines your life. You must understand that drop it. Once you get to there is a time to press your phone, there is a time to sleep. Some of you, the reason you read and you don't understand is that you don't sleep. You sleep little, you have short sleep. And situations like that is building up in your body. So when it's time for exam and your exam is in 2 weeks' time, you now want to read all the things you have not been reading for the past 3 months, and you have not been sleeping for a long time. So anxiety will come in, exam fever will come in. That's how many people fall sick during exam, because you have not been managing your time very well. And it is quite important that we must manage our time. It's quite important. We must manage our time. When you manage your time very well, the outcome will be successful. And let me even tell you this, guys. You see, there are some of your friends that they will play with you in the afternoon, but while you are sleeping in your hostel, they have sneaked to the reading room. They would sneak to their corner to read. But you played together in the afternoon. Such is life. Oh. In all fairness, there is no offense. You play together, yes, we play together. It's good for both of us. You then in the nights you go to bed, you sleep, and in the nights your friend decides to sacrifice his our sleep. There's no offense. It's all fair. So if your friend is performing well and you know that you're always playing together in the afternoon, please go and call your friend and say, boy, shey, after we finish playing together, we play games, PS, Mario, we play PS2. I know that you guys have new games that you guys are playing now. Go and ask your friends. You are doing well, but I noticed that we play together in the afternoon. We say goodbye to ourselves to go and sleep. But how are you making it that you are getting more result, better result than I am? You'll be surprised that he or she will tell you that, oh wo, after you go to bed, me, I'll just go to my corner and I'll go and read because my father will kill me. Even if your father will not kill you, but at least you know that you are capable of getting first class, you are capable of getting good grade. Why not maximize your capabilities? So your guys that you are playing together with, it is time to come to the table and discuss. Guys, I love to read in the afternoon. My afternoon is I'm not playing with my afternoon again. That's when I love to read. Oh, in the evening, that you people are gisting, you are walking about the campuses, you are gisting in the evening. That is the time. You see, the energy to gist in the evening tells you that if you divert that energy, that evening energy to your study, you will assimilate better. But because you don't know, anyway, that is why I'm telling you that you must know when you assimilate better and stop allowing your friends to engage you in useless gisting. Stop gisting or something that is useless, something that is not is an unprofitable conversation. It is quite important. So unprofitable. What are you going to gain from gisting? What are you going to gain from backbiting? Talking about another person's issue. A serious-minded person will face his business, his or her business. And I believe you guys are serious-minded now. So number one, set your timetable. Set your timetable. Okay. Two, know the convenient time you read. If you read in the morning, focus on morning. If yours is in the evening, like this, I love to read in the evening, focus on evening. Okay. And sleep. Find time to sleep. I have said it before here. Find time to sleep. Rest. Rest your body so that your body will be agile enough to collaborate with your mind and for you guys to study. See, if your mind wants to work, but your body is weak, you cannot do anything. And that is why in that time that I said that is convenient for you, whether evening, morning, afternoon, that time you will notice that your mind and your body are in collaboration. They are working together. One is not trying to rest while the other is trying to work. One is not trying to work while the other is trying to rest. Your mind and your body are together. I have not even touched on your spirits. And the reason I have not touched on your spirit is simply because regenerated or not regenerated, whether your spirit is born again or not, once you can use your mind, you can come out in flying colors. You don't have to be born again to come out with a first class. You don't have to. And that's the simple truth. There are many born again child of God there who don't make good use of their minds. And there are many guys who are not born again who are coming out with first class. Please, one thing is common to man. There are two resources common to man, and that is the mind and 24 hours. Do you understand my point now? So you must understand these facts are quite important. Then another thing I want to say is that I hope you follow the latest issue, education decision that is being taken now in Sweden. They are returning to paper uh, textbooks, no longer digital textbooks, no longer ebooks. You know why? Because these things, at worst, they are distractions. And in my sampling, I discovered that you guys, you have phones to read from. No, no, you can't be using your phones to read. You can't have PDF. No, your phone is too small. You see, studying involves many things. It involves reading, it involves thinking on what you read, and it involves writing down what you have read. There is a way you jot it down in a tiny way in your handouts. So drop your phone, go and print. Get course materials, go and print them. Stop reading from your phones. Your phones are distractions. Even the light that comes from your phone to your eyes is a distraction to your brain, to your mind. Stop it. Drop it. Okay? Go and make photocopies, especially where it is cheaper. Go and make photocopies and be able to read. You'll see that as you are reading, you're also writing down. I don't think many of you actually used digital ebooks in your secondary school. So if from age 1 to age 16, you were using books, print media, what gives you the assurance that you are going to switch one day to digital ebook and you are going to have effective reading? It's not going to be possible. So for this sake of your 4 years, this degree, it is important that you drop your phones and go and make photocopy of your ebooks. Go and print them out. You know what that is going to help you to do? It will help you to read, think on what you read, and then write down what you read. It is quite important. Okay, it is quite important. So this is the elephant in the room that I can sense, because I've often asked questions from our students, and they will tell you that they read, they don't understand, and I ask them, what do you use? I read from my phone. Come on, you're reading from your phone? I see why your reading is not effective. I see why you don't remember in the examination hall when you see the questions. So it is time this semester, I want you to make a destiny decision that you are not going to read from your phone. You are going to print out all your course materials where it is cheaper. Go to your library, go to the school library. It is quite cheaper in the school library. Okay? It's quite cheaper. And once you get it, sit down with it. You know what you have done? You have dropped 80, 90% of the distractions that you have. You know, you drop your phone in your hostel. You locate a convenient place for you and you hold your pen. And as you are reading, you know, it's not just reading, thinking. You underline what you are reading. You underline what you are reading. And some people can read for 2 hours at a stretch. Some people can read for 3 hours at a stretch. But some people, within those 2 hours, they must have taken a break for 2 to 3 times. Like maybe you read at a stretch for 20 to 30 minutes, then you stand up, you walk around, you come back to it again, you study again, you walk around, you come back to it again. That is in between 2 hours. Why some people have the ability to sit down for 3 hours without standing up. So I cannot do that. If I have 3 hours to study, I will bet you I will stand up for about 3 to 4 times. Yeah, because I will stretch. And some things like that for everybody. So it is not, the same thing for us. You don't sandwich yourself in the generality of studying styles. No, don't generalize yourself. Don't put yourself in everybody's shoe. You have your shoes, and your shoes don't size each other. Okay? Meaning that you are peculiar, meaning that you are unique, meaning that you are different. I hope you're getting my point. So you must understand that your success begins within. Make all of these things that I've said, make a decision to practice them. You are now in summer. You you are now, in your long vacation. Try to start practicing it. Start practicing what you are hearing now. Deliberately put information. You know what it means to study? It means to deliberately put information in your mind. It's just like basketball. You are throwing ball inside the basket. Okay, so I have a book here with me. Okay, so I read it. Maybe I read the first line and I put that first line in my mind. That is how it works. You don't just read and just read and just read and just read and close it and say, yeah. No, you put the lines in your mind. You put it in your mind. You are putting something in there. It's important for us to understand that. It takes intentionality. You have to be intentional about it. You have to decide that this is what you are going to do. And it takes mastering. And how do you master it? You master it by yourself. And your mind has the capability to learn, has the capability to store up information, has the capability to store up knowledge. And the best thing, as you think about what you read, you get understanding. And once you get understanding, nobody can take it away from you. I hope you know that there are people that once they can cram, I hope you know, they can store up knowledge after the exam. Okay, then after the exam, they are forgotten. Okay, one of the most the number one reason for this is because that knowledge that is stored up in their head has not reached their heart to produce understanding. At best, if that is what you do to put knowledge in your head and get down to your exam, do it. Kó do it. Do it. If is to put the whole of this thing in your head. Do it. Put it in your head. Go for your exam. If you forget after your exam, no problem. Nobody will punish you for that. The only effect is that you will forget after school, you will forget after exam. Somebody will ask you, you only look stupid who cannot remember what he or she read or wrote down in exam. But at best, the money did not go in vain. You did not sacrifice the money as a burnt offering. You at least come out with good grade. Okay, but once you can let that knowledge get into your mind very well, it will produce understanding, and nobody can take that thing away from you. Nobody can take it away from you. So even if you cannot get to the point where it reaches understanding, your mind has the capacity to store that knowledge, that information that you have been given in your class by your lecturers. Store it up, store it up. It is when you start thinking on it that it becomes unto you an understanding. That is the level of application. But even if you have not been able to apply it, at least know it and be able to write it down and go to the exam hall and go and doing your test, doing your exam and write it down. At least your lecturer is not going to fail you. You will have good grade. Only that after exam, after school, you may have forgotten. At least you have used that. You have used your mind to store up the knowledge to achieve what you are sent to school to achieve. So after school, you can decide to go and do business. You can decide to go and do another thing. You can decide to go into music. You can decide to go into business. You can decide to do what manner of things that you think gives you the money and the life that you want. But at least that 4 years, maximize it. Make it productive. And to do that, you use your mind. Use your mind. So I'm going to stop here so as to give us the time to go and study. Okay, so as to give us the time to go and study. So let's not forget that the greatest discovery of our generation of life is that human being can alter his life by altering the state of his mind. And the truth is that whatever you think you can do, you're right. And I want you to think that you can study. I want you to think that you can store up information on your head. You see, all this information in this book, all this information in this book, your mind has the capacity to put them in. Your mind has the capacity to store them. Your mind has the capacity to store them. your organic or inorganic chemistry. Your mind has the capacity to store it. Your mind has the capacity to understand it. If only you can meditate on it. And let me tell you, if you have performed woefully before, I'm giving you this instruction. If you have performed woefully before, my friends, you can change that story. And the way to change that story is to use your mind. And the happiness of your convocation is dependent on the quality use of your mind throughout your 4 years. Oh, during convocation, when they are calling, you see, those who they call out for prizes during the convocation, eh, are those who were able to use their mind. You have the same mind, only that the mind can function at different times if optimally. Okay, someone in organic chemistry who is a first class, someone in international relations who is a first class, may not even be studying conveniently the same time, the same hour. Maybe the other one in organic chemistry study best at night. Maybe the other one in international relations study best in the afternoon. But the truth is that they are using something, which is the mind. It's not prayer and fasting. And that's the truth. Prayer and fasting doesn't do anything. It has nothing to do with whether you are serious as a fellowship member, whether you are an executive in your fellowship or not. No, your primary responsibility is your studies. God is not going to blindfold your lecturer's eyes when it comes to marking your scripts. God will not catch you. Even your lecturers are also Christians who also have God. So with God, who is the father of both of you, blindfold him and say, give her. He will just leave. It's just like two football teams. They want to start their match, and one is the both of them are praying to the same God. I mean, God is just going to stay neutral and leave the rest to skills. And that's the truth. So you just have to use your mind, man. You have to use your mind, people, which is quite important. Don't you leave everything to chances. Whatever the mind can conceive, believe it can also achieve it. If you can conceive that you can have good grade, use your mind. You store up information. You put a lot of information in your head. I believe you can do it. I believe it is possible. All right. So if you're in the comment section, I want you to drop what you think. Remember, the happiness of your convocation is a product of how you have used your mind. So we're going to be coming to the conclusion that your life is in your hand. Your life, the success of your academics is in your hand. There was this wise man that existed, and there's no question that they ask him that he doesn't have answer to. This guy, this man, this old wise man would be asked a lot of questions and he's going to give accurate answer. So I have 2 minutes to stop. So some youths, who are smart now said, okay, let's test this man. So they got a bird in their hand. And they asked this old man, if they squeeze this bird in their hand, the bird will die. Now, they don't want the bird to die, but if they release their hand, the bird will fly. And they asked the old man, what do you want us to do? We want to hold on to the bird firmly, and we don't also want to release the bird so as not to lose it. So what do you do? You know what the man responded? He said, the bird is in your hand. You determine whether it flies you determine whether it dies. Your life, your academics is in your hand. The use of your mind is in your hand. Thank you. So we have come to the end of the stream. We will see you tomorrow by 6 p.m. same time. I started a bit late at around 9 past 6 because I was having issues with the network, but I was able to resolve it. So 6 p.m. tomorrow, I will be teaching us practical ways to study effectively. And I believe we are going to have a great time. Thank you very much. I love you guys. Thank you for joining Durotimi, Ejiro, Adewumi, Ore, and everybody. Thank you very much. Ayode, thank you for joining, and everyone who will be coming in contact with this live stream. I love you guys. See you tomorrow, 6 p.m., same time.